Hello everyone, Alan Gracia with Smartphone Fanatics, and today we're going to take a quick look at some new old stock 5¼ inch floppy disks. So here we have a box of Maxell mini floppy disks. This is 5¼ inch floppies, but they're considered mini because the disks that came before these were 8 inches. So by that regard, these are the mini version of floppy disks. These are not what we might think of as the mini floppy, which is a 3½ inch floppy disks with the hard shell. So these are soft-sectored, single-sided, single or double density. So these floppy disks can be used on the older style Apple II computers that had 140K per disk, or they could be used on the IBM compatibles at the time, which were could have double density depending on the type of disk drive that you had in them. Taking a look around the top here, we see Maxell mini floppy. These are the model MD1DM, okay, whatever that is. They're soft sectored, right? Same information. Oh, with the ring hub. So when the drive assembly closes on the disk, it's not just sitting on the disk. It actually will close on the ring instead, so you're not damaging the floppy. Also, taking a look at the bottom here, we see that there's 10 pieces, so there's 10 floppy disks in here. And while there's no date on the package to say when this was manufactured, it does say floppy disk in Japan. So let's assume that they were manufactured in Japan, but then assembled in USA. So I think what we'll have to assume here is that the discs were made in bulk in Japan, shipped here, and then presumably the discs were put into sleeves. The discs with the sleeves were put in the box, and then it was shrink wrapped. I don't know. But let's actually get to the unboxing, and let's find out what's inside. All right, so let's go ahead and cut this open. Careful not to cut yourself. Point away from us while we're closing that, and knife safety. And let's see what's inside. I haven't opened a box of discs like this in probably 35 years, so I don't remember what they actually have in here, but we'll take a look. Plastic, get rid of that. All right, so these are just 2 pieces of cardboard. They do slide apart like this. Nothing too exciting inside. And here we go. So we have Maxell floppy disks. These are the disks that I recall using back in the day, in the early 90s, the late 80s, with my Apple II computers. I had a Laser 128 that used 5¼ inch floppies, then an Apple IIe, like you've seen in the previous videos, and then I also had an Apple II GS. So 5¼ inch floppy disks are not new to me. We see that the labels are already applied, so that's kind of neat. And then we have the Mylar sleeve that protects the floppy disk, and then we actually have the floppy disk itself. So these are called flexible disks, right? Floppy disks, because the enclosure is just a thin piece of plastic, which obviously does flex, as opposed to the 5¼ inch, or 3½ inch rather, that you might be more familiar with, which has the hard shell and a floppy, flexible platter in the inside. We also see they have that little black ring here that they talked about in the box. So these are single-sided. So you see the black ring here, no black ring on the other side. So this particular stock of discs, when you insert them in the drive, they are only face up. You won't be able to flip them over and use the back. Also, they're not notched, although you could get a disc notching tool and use the back. But for my purposes, we're going to just continue to use them as intended. So floppy disk, we've got some, okay, Japan here. So again, I'm going to assume that this means, let's see if we can see it in the camera. Yeah, there it is. It says Japan with presumably a part number or a date code of some sort. And that's it. So there's the floppy disk. We have 10 of these. They slide right in there. Obviously, we don't want to touch the exposed aperture there. We obviously don't want to use magnets because this is magnetic media. Don't use a heavy pen or pencil to write on it, because it will leave an impression on the disc on the inside. Don't clip them together, obviously, because again, the same thing, you'll pit or dent. And then don't expose them to water or intense sunlight, right? So it talks a little about some caution. I do have to wonder, though, whether or not this lifetime warranty is still valid if we actually get a hold of Maxell Corporation in New Jersey, if they would go ahead and replace this floppy disk. Probably not, but maybe we should see. And then here again, we have the warranty statement, the lifetime warranty statement. for New Jersey here in the United States. Then we've got, let's see what other things we've got in here. So obviously we have the warranty information and the warranty registration card. So that'll be interesting. Maybe I should send this in and see what happens. Also, we have a couple extra labels for the box itself, so we can label what's actually on these floppies if I was putting a whole bunch of similar style stuff. And then we have colored labels that would go in that black space up here. So you would have the Maxell label with, you know, your number code or some other cataloging type of information, and then a description of what's on the disc. And then these silver tabs, these are what are considered write protect tabs. So if you're familiar with 3.5-inch floppies, they had a little tab that was baked into the case. Well, on a 5.25-inch disc, there are no obviously sliding pieces. So you would take one of those little plastic tabs or those little foil tabs, and you would just cover up that hole so it would appear flat without the notch in the drive, and that would tell the disk drive that these discs are read-only and not read-write. And then if you needed to rewrite them, you would just peel the tab off. So you can use that. You can use a piece of tape, anything that basically doesn't alter the disc but does cover that notch. That would how you handle write or read-only capabilities on the floppy disk. So that's it. That's opening some Maxell old stock, some new old stock floppy disks from, geez, it still doesn't have a date on any of this stuff, but from probably the early 90s, possibly late 80s, Maxell floppy disks for 5.25-inch machines like the Apple IIe. So thanks everybody for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll have a link down in the comments below so you can take a look at the Wikipedia page for floppy disks and read a little bit more about 5.25, 8-inch, and the more popular 3.5-inch disks. Thanks.